Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today we've got an episode of Sniper Sunday. Been a little while since we focused on some bolt action snipers, and I thought it would be nice to get back to the basics. The CS-LR4. This is the first bolt action sniper rifle that you're going to unlock in the game, and it's actually gotten a nice upgrade since the latest weapon patch. One of the most important stats to a sniper rifle, its bullet velocity, has gotten upgraded pretty significantly. It used to shoot 500 meters per second, which might sound like it's kind of fast, but for a bolt action rifle, it's not really doing you any favors, especially at longer ranges, and that's certainly what this rifle is meant for. So its bullet velocity actually got upgraded to 630 meters per second, which is definitely going to put it up there with some of the fastest bolt action rifles in the game. It's going to allow you to be much more effective at extreme ranges. And you'll see I'm certainly taking advantage of that here in Zavod 311 Team Deathmatch. Being up on the roofs here is certainly one of my favorite spots to use any bolt action sniper rifle, because you have a huge range of things to shoot at. In fact, I think the rooftops in Zavod 311 are a bit overpowered in many ways. If you can get up there, you can control them and pretty much dominate the maps. And yes, I was using a claymore to achieve this effect. Not proud of it, but you know what? You got so many tools available to you, you may as well take advantage of them, especially if you're trying to dominate a rooftop as a sniper rifle and your team is not really helping you out. Now, bolt action rifles play a different role in Battlefield as they do compared to other shooters. Say Counter-Strike, for example. You can actually be pretty effective at just about any range the bolt action rifle if you're a good enough player. It's a one-shot kill, you can down somebody. If you play Call of Duty, quick scoping is an option, so you can still be very effective in close quarters. Harder to do, but it's still going to be a much more effective way of using sniper rifles in Call of Duty than in Battlefield. In this game, you have a lot of other factors that you have to deal with. One of the main ones, and one of the more controversial ones, is the fact that anybody running the defensive perk gets a big damage reduction to their chest and arms, and this means that you're not going to be able to one-shot body shot somebody with any bolt action sniper rifle. So that's actually a really big deterrent to trying to use a bolt action rifle in close range. And I guess it was a deterrent to quick scoping and stuff like that. The problem is that quick scoping and trying to use bolt actions in close quarters was never really an overpowered effect to begin with. So body armors really kind of hurt the effectiveness of bolt action rifles, and it forces you into using them at longer ranges. You don't want to use them in close quarters, and that's why you'll see me switch over to the 93R rather than trying to take some sort of lucky shot in close quarters to take somebody out, because you have to get a headshot in CQB, which is just ridiculous. And considering the hipfire accuracy of a bolt action rifle, it's just almost impossible to do that. So it's better to just lead with your sidearm in many situations. Now personally, I like to switch up my sidearms a lot of the time. I'll use anything from a Magnum to a Rex to your standard 9mm M9 to the 93R, the G18. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, if I'm trying to pick my most effective sidearm, for me personally, I'll use the 93R, and I almost always run something like that when I'm playing a bolt action recon class, because I need something that's going to be extremely effective as a sidearm, something that I can use as a primary for engaging somebody with an assault rifle. As long as I get a slight jump on somebody, I can take them out usually before they even notice me or shoot back. You'll notice in a lot of these clips here, I'm engaging my opponents from a height advantage. This allows me to expose the smallest part of my body possible, just my head and the rifle. Usually you can just back up a little bit to cover yourself a little bit more. So this is probably one of my favorite ways to snipe on any map, is get the height over your opponents. You're not always given that choice, and when you're not given that choice, try and use cover as effectively as possible. Don't run too far out into the front lines. Always maintain something that you can jump behind very easily and cover your entire person. Otherwise, you're pretty much going to go down. If you miss your first shot on somebody who knows where you are and they have an assault rifle, they're going to start shooting at you. You need to get behind cover as fast as humanly possible, not stand out in the open while you try and rechamber another round. The CS-LR4 can shoot 46 rounds per minute, which means you have over a second to worry about between rechambering each round. So that's not enough time for you to just kind of think and wait and sit there. You got to get behind cover, and that's why you'll see a lot of snipers kind of disengage their zoom, rechamber around, get behind cover between each shot. You don't want to be standing there in the open. That being said, I still run straight pull bolt on all my sniper rifles. You notice that I disengage my zoom between almost every single shot. A lot of that is habit from other video games that force you to disengage your zoom in order to rechamber a shot, but also it allows me to get my bearings between each shot and not get sort of tunnel vision and snuck up on. But the actual reason for running a straight pull bolt setup on a rifle, even when I'm not necessarily taking advantage of it, is that it allows me to rechamber a round as soon as humanly possible. Even if I'm following my shot up for a little while still aiming down sights, I will have already started to rechamber a round as long as I'm running straight pull bolt. So it's pretty much mandatory to run this attachment on bolt action rifles, in my opinion. It's just too big of an advantage. It's always going to allow you to shoot your rifle at the highest rate of fire possible. Now you'll notice I'm running off to the side of the map here in Golmud Railways. This is kind of a sneaky little area of the map. I've got a few doorways and windows to shoot out of and a long range of targets to basically engage. So I'm setting myself up for the maximum advantage. Maximize your range whenever possible. And it really does come down to the statistics of a situation. Assault rifles, machine guns, they will have an advantage at close and medium range every time, all the time. So you want to take it beyond that range. You want to get at the range where you have the weapon that has the advantage over your opponent. That's always going to be long range with bolt action rifles. I know a lot of this sounds like common sense, but if you're playing on a medium range map, then perhaps bolt action rifle is just not the right weapon to use. If you decide that you're going to try and get up on a rooftop somewhere and put a lot of distance between you and your opponent, or set yourself up in a situation where you can take a shot and quickly get behind cover easily, then perhaps you might want to consider going with a bolt action rifle. But if you're going to try and go bolt action in medium range, you're probably just going to get upset in Battlefield 4 because this game just is not set up for that. Now, a lot of the new Final Stand maps really do cater to bolt action rifle gameplay. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to capture any of that during this capture session, but if you want some advice for some good sniper maps, I would say try Whiteout on Team Deathmatch. There's tons and tons of really long range engagements there. Or if you play Hangar 21 on Conquest, that would be a really good map for a lot of long range sniping action. Now, as far as the CS-LR4 bolt action rifle goes, the latest patch actually made it an incredibly good rifle. It's a very, very well balanced weapon. You've got a nice 10 round magazine plus one in the chamber, so you can have 11 shots. It's going to one shot headshot at any single range, and its muzzle velocity just got upgraded to 630 meters per second, making it an incredibly effective rifle to use at extreme long ranges. So you've got a great rifle here. Its rate of fire is 46 rounds per minute, which is not insane, but comparing it to some of the other rifles that meet the same characteristics, it is a bit faster shooting. So it's still a very, very effective weapon, and probably the new king of versatility when it comes to bolt action rifles. Now, when I started playing on this session here, I actually ended up getting my mastery tag for it pretty quickly, and I do remember that the initial 400 or so kills that I got with this rifle, that were pretty much right when Battlefield came out, were very painful to get. They were a lot of work, and the rifle wasn't balanced well, and there was problems with netcode, and sniping was just horrendous at that point. This time around, the CS-LR4 was actually a lot of fun to game with, and I was enjoying most of the rounds that I played. Really, really effective, and it allowed me to adapt to so many different situations. In this situation here, we've actually been forced to retreat a bit. I jumped off the balcony, ran away, and the guys are pursuing my situation right now. So I managed to get a few more bolt action rifle kills, and then I have to switch up to some pistol action to finish off the guys coming in close range. Dawnbreaker is another map that can really facilitate the bolt action sniper rifle in certain situations. Sometimes you'll lock down an alley completely and you can sit there all day and not have any shots pop up for you, but as long as you make your way around the outskirts of the map, maximizing your range, you're bound to get a lot of kills and be a very effective recon player. Running with a bolt action recon is a fun class to play. It's very rewarding when you get those long range headshots or even those close quarter headshots, especially sometimes when you get those lucky hip fire one-shot kills. It's very fun to play, but it's also probably the hardest class to play. That being said, the new professional class in Battlefield Hardline is getting a lot of really powerful, fully automatic sidearms, and I really can't wait to try out sniping in the next Battlefield title. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.